Real life English with class.
You know that feeling when your heart's racing at 2, and because you're replaying every mistake you made today, and your brain won't shut up about everything you need to do tomorrow?
Softly. Oh, we're starting there, huh?
Yeah, we're going there. Because that's stress. And if we're being honest, it's not just ruining our sleep, it's making decisions for us. It's controlling what we say yes to, what we avoid, how we show up in our lives. And today, we're taking that power back.
Hey everyone, welcome to Real Life English, the podcast. I'm Max.
And I'm Emma. And look, if you've ever felt like stress is sitting in the driver's seat of your life while you're just a passenger watching things happen, this episode is exactly for you.
Today, you're getting 3 things. First, you're going to learn how to talk about stress in natural, authentic English, not textbook stuff. Second, we're going to share what actually works to manage stress, not the generic advice you've heard 1,000 times. And third, you're walking away with one simple framework you can use today to respond to stress instead of reacting to it.
Quick level check. This episode is designed for intermediate learners around B1 to B2, but honestly, if you're understanding us right now, you're in the right place. Don't worry about perfection. Just listen, learn, and let the language sink in.
And hey, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We drop new episodes twice a week, and every single one is designed to teach you real English while talking about real life. No boring grammar drills, no robotic dialogues.
Just 2 friends having actual conversations.
Exactly. Oh, and here's your homework for today. After you finish this episode, leave us a comment. Tell us what's one thing that's stressing you out right now. Just one. It can be big or small. We read every single comment, and honestly, it helps us know what episodes to make next.
All right, let's dive in. Dive in means to start something fully and enthusiastically. Let's dive in and talk about stress.
So, Emma, I have to ask. When did you first realize that stress was actually controlling parts of your life instead of you just feeling stressed sometimes?
Oh man. Okay, so this was maybe 2 years ago. I was working a job I didn't love, and every Sunday evening, like clockwork, I would get this knot in my stomach. You know that phrase? A knot in my stomach means that tight, uncomfortable feeling you get when you're anxious or worried. It's like your stomach is literally twisting. Yeah, I know that feeling way too well.
Right? And I kept telling myself, Emma, it's just Sunday anxiety, everyone gets it. But then I started noticing I was snapping at my roommate over tiny things. I was avoiding plans with friends because I felt too drained. Drained means completely emptied of energy, like a battery that's dead.
So the stress wasn't just a feeling, it was changing your behavior.
Exactly. That's when it hit me. Stress wasn't something I had. It was something that had me. It was making my decisions. Should I go to that party? Stress said no. Should I speak up in that meeting? Stress said stay quiet. Should I try that new thing? Stress said it's safer to stay where you are.
Honestly, that's kind of terrifying when you put it that way.
It is. Because you don't even realize it's happening. You just think you're being realistic or careful or whatever. But really, you're letting stress call the shots. Call the shots means to be in control, to make the decisions.
Okay, so here's where I'm going to be honest about my own stuff. I used to think stress was actually helpful. Like, I genuinely believed that if I wasn't stressed, I wouldn't get anything done. I thought stress was my motivation. Oh, the classic I work well under pressure thing.
Yeah, exactly that. And look, there's some truth to it, right? A little bit of pressure can help you focus. But I was confusing pressure with chronic stress. I was running on empty. Running on empty means continuing to push yourself when you have no energy left, like driving a car with no gas.
What changed for you?
I started having these stress headaches. Not occasionally, like every day for 3 weeks straight. And I remember sitting at my desk one afternoon, and I realized I couldn't remember what I'd done that morning. Like I'd been so on autopilot. On autopilot means doing things automatically without really thinking or being present, that entire chunks of my day were just gone.
That's actually scary, Max.
Yeah. And that's when I thought, okay, this isn't sustainable. This isn't living. This is just surviving with extra steps.
Right. And I think that's the trap so many of us fall into. We normalize this constant state of stress. We wear it like a badge of honor. Oh, I'm so busy, I'm so stressed, like it proves we're important or hardworking or whatever.
Totally. It's almost like if you're not stressed, you're not trying hard enough.
Exactly. But that's such backwards thinking. Because the truth is, when you're that stressed, you're not doing your best work. You're not being your best self. You're just in survival mode, trying to make it to the end of the day.
So how did you start to shift that? Like, what was the first actual thing you did?
Honestly, it sounds so simple, but I started naming it. When I felt that knot in my stomach, instead of just pushing through, I would literally say to myself, I'm feeling stressed right now. Just acknowledging it, not judging it, not trying to fix it immediately, just noticing it.
Huh. That's interesting because most advice is like, here's 10 ways to eliminate stress. But you're saying just notice it first?
Yeah, because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. And for me, once I started noticing the stress in the moment, I could start asking, okay, what's actually happening here? What am I afraid of? What do I need right now?
That's way more powerful than I expected it to be.
Okay, so here's where I think most people get stress completely wrong.
Oh, here we go. You're about to challenge everything we believe, aren't you?
Maybe a little. But seriously, I think we treat stress like it's the enemy, like it's this evil thing we need to defeat or eliminate from our lives. But stress isn't the problem.
Wait, pause. Stress isn't the problem? Emma, did you forget the last 10 minutes where we talked about how stress was literally controlling our lives?
No, hear me out. Stress itself is just information. It's your body's way of saying, hey, something here matters to you, and you might not be equipped to handle it right now. The problem isn't the stress. It's what we do with it.
Okay. I'm listening, but I'm skeptical.
Think about it this way. If you're stressed about a presentation at work, that stress is telling you something. Maybe it's saying, this is important to you and you want to do well. That's not bad information. The problem is when you spiral means to get caught in a cycle of increasingly negative thoughts that feel out of control and turn that information into, I'm going to fail, everyone will judge me, I'm terrible at this, why did I even try?
Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. The stress is just a signal. It's what we do with the signal that makes it destructive.
Exactly. And here's the other thing people get wrong. They think the goal is to never feel stressed. But that's impossible. And honestly, a life with zero stress would be kind of boring. No challenges, no growth, no excitement.
Okay, but I'm going to push back on that a little bit.
Please do.
I agree that some stress is normal and even useful. But I think we also live in a world that's designed to keep us stressed, like the constant notifications, the pressure to be available 24/7, the comparison trap on social media. That's not natural stress. That's manufactured stress.
Oh, that's a fair point.
So yeah, maybe the goal isn't zero stress, but I think the goal is to eliminate unnecessary stress. Eliminate unnecessary stress means to remove the things that stress you out, but don't actually serve any purpose or add value to your life, and then learn to handle the rest better.
Okay, I'm fully on board with that. Because you're right, so much of modern stress is just noise. It's not actually about real threats or real challenges. It's about our inboxes and our to-do lists and feeling like we're always behind.
Right. And here's something I learned that kind of blew my mind. Blew my mind means completely surprised me or changed my perspective dramatically. Our brains can't tell the difference between a real threat and a perceived threat. So when you're stressed about an email, your body responds the same way it would if you were being chased by a bear.
Wait, really?
Yeah, your heart rate goes up, cortisol floods your system, you go into fight or flight mode. All because of an email. It's wild.
That's actually crazy. No wonder we're all so exhausted. We're treating everyday annoyances like life or death situations.
Exactly. And that's where the whole not letting stress control your life thing comes in. It's about teaching your brain, okay, this email is not a bear. We can respond to this calmly.
So how do you do that? Like in the moment, when you feel that stress response kicking in?
For me, it's about the pause. Before I react to anything stressful, I try to take 3 deep breaths. I know that sounds like every meditation app ever, but it genuinely works. It breaks the pattern. Breaks the pattern means to interrupt an automatic response or habit.
Yeah. And I think that pause is everything. Because in that moment, you're taking back control. You're saying, I get to choose how I respond to this instead of just reacting automatically.
Exactly. And sometimes the response is, this actually does need my immediate attention. But a lot of times, it's this can wait, or this isn't as urgent as it feels, or even this isn't mine to fix.
Ooh, that last one. This isn't mine to fix. That's huge.
Right? Because so much stress comes from taking on things that aren't actually our responsibility. Someone else's emotions, someone else's problem, someone else's expectations.
And we do that because we want to help, or we want to be liked, or we feel guilty saying no.
Yeah, but all that does is spread yourself too thin. Spread yourself too thin means to try to do too many things at once and not have enough time or energy for any of them.
And then you're stressed about everything, doing nothing well, and feeling terrible about it.
Exactly. So sometimes the best stress management is just not taking on the stress in the first place.
You know what's interesting about stress? How differently people around the world think about it and deal with it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was reading something recently about how in some cultures rest is seen as lazy, but in others it's seen as essential.
Right. And if you're listening from anywhere in East Asia, you might know about the insane work culture in places like Japan or South Korea. There's literally a word in Japanese, karoshi, that means death from overwork. That's how normalized extreme stress has become.
That's genuinely disturbing.
It is. But then you look at some European countries and they have completely different attitudes. Like in Spain, businesses close in the afternoon for a siesta. In Sweden, they have this concept called lagom. Not too much, not too little, just right. Balance is built into the culture.
Yeah, and I think if you're listening from the United States, like where I'm from, there's this whole hustle culture thing. You know, sleep when you're dead, rise and grind, no days off. It's exhausting just talking about it.
Totally. And if you're from Latin America, maybe you've experienced how family and community can both reduce stress because you have support, but also create stress because there's pressure to show up, to contribute, to maintain relationships.
That's such a good point. Because stress isn't just about work. It's about culture, family expectations, social norms, all of it.
Exactly. And wherever you're listening from right now, I'm curious, what does your culture say about stress? Is it something you're supposed to hide? Something you're supposed to push through? Or is it okay to admit when you're struggling?
Yeah, and more importantly, what do you want your relationship with stress to be? Because you don't have to follow whatever your culture says is normal. You get to choose.
That's empowering. And honestly, I think that's what this whole conversation is about. It's not about eliminating stress from your life. That's impossible. It's about choosing how you relate to it.
Right. It's about making stress something that happens in your life, not something that is your life.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about stress and how to think about it differently. Now let's give you something practical you can actually use in English.
Yeah, because if you ever need to talk about stress with a friend, a coworker, maybe a therapist, you want to sound natural. You don't want to just say, I have stress.
Laugh. Right, that sounds a bit robotic.
So here's a simple 4-part framework you can use to talk about stress in a way that sounds natural and helps you process what you're feeling. Ready?
Let's do it.
Part 1. When I feel. This is where you name what you're actually feeling. Not just stressed, but the specific flavor of it.
Part 2. This is your default pattern. What do you typically do when you feel that way?
Part 3. But lately, I've been trying. This shows you're aware and making changes.
And part 4, and honestly, this is where you reflect on how it's going. Be real here. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Okay, let me show you an example. When I feel overwhelmed by my to-do list, I usually shut down and scroll through my phone for an hour. But lately, I've been trying to write down just 3 things that actually matter for the day. And honestly, it's not perfect, but I feel way less paralyzed.
Love that. Okay, my turn. When I feel anxious about the future, I usually try to plan every detail to feel in control. But lately, I've been trying to sit with the uncertainty instead of fighting it. And honestly, it's uncomfortable. But I'm sleeping better.
Nice. One more. When I feel stressed about work, I usually bring it home with me and snap at the people I love. But lately, I've been trying to take a 10-minute walk after work to transition. And honestly, I can feel the difference in my relationships.
See how natural that sounds? You're not giving a speech. You're just sharing your experience.
And here's the thing. You can use this framework to talk to yourself, too. Not just other people. Sometimes just saying these things out loud or writing them down helps you see your patterns more clearly.
Absolutely. So listeners, try it out. Use this framework this week and notice how it feels to put your stress into words instead of just carrying it around silently.
All right, let's do a quick word tour. We're going to go through some of the key vocabulary from today's episode. These are all words and phrases that native speakers use all the time when talking about stress.
And if you caught these when we used them earlier, amazing. If not, no worries. We're going to break them down now.
First one, a knot in my stomach. This is that tight, uncomfortable feeling you get when you're anxious or worried. 2 examples. I had a knot in my stomach before the job interview. Whenever I think about that conversation, I get a knot in my stomach. Did you catch that one earlier when we used it?
Next, drained. When you're drained, you're completely emptied of energy. You've got nothing left. After that intense week at work, I felt totally drained. Dealing with drama drains me faster than anything else. This one's super common.
Call the shots. This means to be in control or to make the decisions. My boss calls the shots on this project. I'm tired of other people calling the shots in my life. If someone's calling the shots, they're in charge.
Running on empty. This means continuing to push yourself when you have no energy left, like driving a car with no gas. I've been running on empty for weeks. You can't keep running on empty. You need to rest.
On autopilot. Doing things automatically without really thinking or being present. I was so stressed, I went through the whole day on autopilot. When you're on autopilot, you're not really living. You're just going through the motions.
Spiral. To get caught in a cycle of increasingly negative thoughts that feel out of control. I started to spiral about all the things that could go wrong. Don't let one mistake make you spiral into thinking you're a failure. This one's really common when talking about anxiety.
Blow my mind. When something completely surprises you or changes your perspective dramatically. That documentary about stress blew my mind. It blew my mind when I realized how much control I actually have. It's a positive surprise.
Break the pattern. To interrupt an automatic response or habit. Taking deep breaths helps me break the pattern of stress. I'm trying to break the pattern of checking my phone first thing in the morning.
Spread yourself too thin. To try to do too many things at once and not have enough time or energy for any of them. I spread myself too thin last semester and my grades suffered. You're spreading yourself too thin, you need to say no to some things.
And finally, eliminate unnecessary stress. To remove the things that stress you out but don't actually serve any purpose or add value to your life. I eliminated unnecessary stress by unfollowing accounts that made me feel bad about myself. Half of my stress was unnecessary. I just needed to stop caring what everyone thought.
And those are your key words from today. You don't need to memorize them all at once. Just try using one or two this week and see how they feel.
So, Max, if you had to sum up this entire conversation in one sentence, what would it be?
I think it would be this. Stress is information, not an identity, and you get to choose whether you respond with awareness or react with fear.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful.
Thanks. What about you?
I would say the goal isn't to live without stress. It's to live with stress without letting it make your decisions.
Yeah, that's it right there.
And look, if you're listening to this right now and you're feeling stressed about something, which, let's be honest, most of us are, I just want you to know that you're not broken. You're not failing. You're human. And you're allowed to struggle with this.
Absolutely. And you're also allowed to ask for help, whether that's from a friend, a therapist, a support group, whatever. Managing stress doesn't mean doing it alone.
Right. And start small. You don't have to overhaul your entire life tomorrow. Just try one thing. Take 3 deep breaths before responding to stress. Say no to one thing you don't actually want to do. Name the stress when you feel it.
Baby steps. Small changes. That's how you shift the pattern.
And remember your homework. Leave us a comment telling us one thing that's stressing you out right now. We genuinely want to hear from you. And who knows, maybe we'll make a whole episode about what you share.
Yeah, and if this episode helped you in any way, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Send it to a friend who's going through a tough time. Post it in your language learning group, however you want to spread it.
All right, friends. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for trusting us with your time and your English learning journey.
We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, be kind to yourself.
And remember, you're doing better than you think.
Take care, everyone.
Bye!